Hello everyone. This is gonna be one of the most difficult video that I'm gonna put out there. So follow me, listen. It's a topic about the situation in Goma, DRC. I would like to stay away from it as much as I can because it's challenging as someone who was born in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Rwandan, not talk about it and create tension around it because as a Rwandan born in the RC, you understand I am in the middle of this. So no matter what I say, it can be politicized quickly when I would rather just live my life in peace and stay away from the politics. That being said, there is a time in life when you can be silent, and this is that time. Most of you have seen what has happened in Rwanda. For many of us, that war has not started yesterday. It's been ongoing for the last, give or take, since 1996. That's when the first war of Congo started. And guess what? I was there. So unlike most people who are just reading things in the media, watching things in the mass media, I've lived some of it. And it so happens that my roots are forever connected to what's happening because my parents immigrated to Kinshasa in the 70s. And that also makes my situation a bit different, close to the situation, because if you look at the RC at the map from the west to the east, it's such a huge country. And so you have the east, that's where we're having this conflict happening. But I was way in the west, where most of the protests, most of the hatred are coming from, saying we don't want Rwandans there. Now, let's first talk about Rwandan DRC. In my case, I'm born and I was in Kinshasa on the west side, but there are many Rwandans who've been in what we know as Congo for centuries. For centuries. They may have moved there for a number of reasons, or there are some territories, to my understanding, that were part of the Kingdom of Rwanda before the Berlin Conference that divided parts of Africa. And this is true to many countries. I was recently watching a documentary where on Al Jazeera where you have people in Cote d'Ivoire, North, who are also from another country in Africa. It's a very sticky situation, but that's how we are. So part of the problem, big problem, is that those Congolese want to be recognized. I don't want to use the term we hear in the media because they are Congolese, but they feel that their rights are not being recognized, and they have a point, and they have taken arms to fight for their rights. It makes sense because if they are being attacked in their own land, if they are being told to go back to Rwanda, well, that's a problem because they are now Rwandans, at least in terms of nationality. We have to make a difference between our ancestry and originality. We have people in Canada of French ancestry. We don't tell them go back to France. Does that make sense to you? We do have people of French as much as I have people of British ancestry. We don't tell them to go back to Britain. So why should they? This situation is complex. And when the war started, I watched it from the eyes of local reporters in Rwanda. There's a lot of negative narrative surrounding Rwanda and the president of Rwanda at the moment. That's Paul Kagame, for those of you who don't know. And most of you who are saying a lot of negative things don't quite complex how deep the situation goes. It goes deeper than that. And everyone is becoming an expert and making it what it's not. And people wishing war on Rwanda. I mean, in fact, it was tried during this conflict. They had heavy artillery firing at Rwanda. They did. Luckily, Rwanda was prepared and they had anti-missiles. But if those bombs had reached the ground, because they were actually the Rwandan anti-missile, they were able to destroy those in the air. It would have caused massive destruction. I'm aware of the history and the complexity of it. But 4 years ago, or 6 years ago, when I returned to Rwanda after 24 years and seeing what Rwanda has done to come back from the ashes and seeing what the people of Rwanda have have accomplished, I think it's applaudable. It's applaudable, and therefore, Rwanda is a country that is a model to many countries in Africa for its stability, for its many things accomplished. Where should I start? And so it's a model of development. That's how they built the biggest entrepreneurship hub for for tech startups in Kigali, nowhere else. So the people who built it, they could have done it anywhere else in the land. But we also have to look at what's going on in the Democratic Republic of Congo, outside of what they're claiming situation is, and you name it. But that country has a lot of problems that the authorities have to fix. Corruption is huge. They should take care of their people. I think if you don't fix your house and you start blaming other people, well, and you've been president for how many years? I think this is the second mandate. I talk about just again the president of the IC. Allow me to go there just a little bit on the surface of it, because that country has many problems. And they didn't just start yesterday. Before Tshisekedi, you had President Kabila Jr., and then you had Father Kabila, and then you even had Mobutu. I was watching a documentary about how people have to cross the River Congo. I will make a video on this boat for a month. Is it even a boat? It's like a makeshift boat, and they have to risk their lives for a month to reach Kisangani. It's another city located northeast, and just the condition on that makeshift boat, if I call it, it's horrible, horrible. People, what they have to go through living on that, because they have to bring their own tent, and they're all stacked together. You know, it's not even a boat per se. It's like an open air, by the way. It's like open air. It's like a raft. Yeah, it's like an open air raft. They put tent on top, and they have to live on top there with not even anything to keep them safe. Not even vests to keep them safe for a month. To go and sell merchandises in Kisangani, make money, and some travel with their family. It's just horrible. And it's important that those problems that the country has are also talked about. Yes, the war is horrible. We don't wish a war. And like I said in the beginning, the people who fighting, they're fighting for a reason. And if you watch the whole situation, you also had rebels from Romania who came to fight in the RC. Then you had what they call the Wazalendo, which are rebel force that ally themselves with the official army. And when the war started, the officers of the FRDC Force Armée, that's the official FRDC Force Armée Démocratique du Congo, they fled first. Have you ever heard of the situation of a war where the officers who are supposed to be guiding flee and leaving their all soldiers behind? Anyways, guys, I've lived, like I said in the beginning, some of this situation, and my history, my path, my life will forever be connected to this. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite, but I'm gonna be real. And I don't think wishing a war to Rwanda is the right solution. But if Rwanda is attacked, they have right to defend themselves, just like any other country will do. Anyway, let's keep watching the situation as it unfolds, and I wish peace in that region.